Hello, brains! The last time I did a vlog, I talked about how to make our world ADHD friendly, and I immediately started walking around my house going, what could make it more ADHD friendly? And Googling stuff and looking stuff up and trying to think of like, how do I make a project where I make my bedroom like the most ADHD friendly thing ever? What I realized is I've done this in the past and it generally does not go well because I end up solving problems that I don't even have. There are a lot of challenges that I run into on a daily basis. There's a lot of little barriers that get in my way. When you have ADHD, you want to grease the wheels. You kind of want to make your environment a little bit easier on your executive function to do the things that you want to do. And on the flip side, you want to make it harder to do the things that you want to avoid doing. So an example of that is like, if the work that you need to do is like in a file in your computer and you don't know where it is, and that computer is also in your backpack and that backpack is also in the car, but the video game controller is right there, probably not going to do your homework. You want to make things easier to do. You want to reduce the number of challenges you run into and issues you run into trying to do whatever it is you're trying to do on a daily basis. So I started doing this thing called an issues log, and this is something that I did a few years back when I had a roommate, and she wasn't doing great, I wasn't doing great. The environment was definitely not anybody friendly, definitely not ADHD friendly. And rather than trying to tackle the entire thing at once, we decided to keep a log of any issue we ran into. Anytime we didn't do the thing that we wanted to do, we wrote down why. Anytime we ran into a challenge, we wrote down why, what it was. And at the end of the week, we would review that and try and see if we could maybe remove some of those barriers. No judgment, no like, it's because they didn't do the dishes. It was just like, hey, I couldn't cook my dinner because the pot that I needed wasn't clean. Or I didn't get dressed because there was stuff in the way of me getting to my clothes in the closet. So it was just easier to stay in my nightgown all day. Whatever barriers get in our way, we can write them down. And then at the end of the week, we can go through this log and see, oh, okay, like, are there maybe some easy solutions? I started doing this again, and it was hilarious to me, the kinds of things that ended up on this log. I actually spent 20 minutes trying to walk around my house finding socks just so I could go to the grocery store to pick up the grocery sushi that I was gonna eat that day because it's Wednesday and they're on sale for $6. Long story short, I put it in the issues log. End of the week, I just bought more socks. Like, I clearly need more socks. And I just wanted to share this because I think it's just one of those really simple things, but you don't recognize it because a lot of the time, those of us with ADHD are so used to struggling our way through our day that we don't even think about it. I am used to climbing over things and stepping on piles of laundry to get to my bed. I am used to things like spraying myself in the face with brush cleaner instead of primer because the bottles look the same. And I don't even really think twice about these things, but this is not an ADHD friendly environment. There was one where it was a shoot day and it was just like, okay, I forgot to charge the iPad that I use as a teleprompter. So that needs to charge. I forgot to finish formatting the script for shooting, and oh, I also forgot to actually finish this other script. So let me do that real quick. Every time I shoot, I really struggle to keep that on time because I'm dealing with so many technical difficulties. Maybe somebody who understands technology better than me should be helping me shoot. So one of the things that I realized is like, I need somebody to shoot with me because set switching is hard. Switching between tasks that require different mental processes is hard. Switching between let me do the technical problem solving, setting up the set stuff, and the creative, like, let me sit and talk to camera and be a communicator and an educator. Those are different skills, and having to switch between them is too much for my brain. I think if anybody's ever struggling, there's a reason that they're struggling. And keeping an issues log is a great way of figuring out why are you struggling? What's in your way? And then if you review it at the end of the week, you might start to see some patterns like, hey, I notice I regularly am late to things because I can't find socks. Maybe I should buy more socks. So much of my life I spent just accepting that I'm climbing over one obstacle after another. And if I run into so many obstacles that I'm late on something, then that's still my fault. It's still some sort of moral defect or moral failing. And no, it doesn't have to be that way. Trying to get through our day and trying to focus on the things we're trying to focus on and trying to switch tasks when it's time to switch tasks, these are all things that are impaired in ADHD. We have a hard time keeping and maintaining a house the way that somebody who's neurotypical might be able to. And that doesn't mean we can't do it, but it means it's a lot harder. We might have to take more extreme strategies. A lot of people with ADHD are very minimalist for that reason. A lot of people with ADHD are very early to things so that they aren't late, because these are things that we struggle with. And so not only are we working with a brain that is constantly throwing barriers at us, we're also dealing with an environment that, partially because of how our brain works, is also constantly throwing barriers at us. It's exhausting to get through the day when you have ADHD. I mean, I can only speak for me here, but because I'm so used to things being so hard, it doesn't even register until I started actually keeping an issues log. Hey, did I do the thing that I said I was going to do? If not, what got in my way? And doing it completely mindfully with no judgment at all. Because then I can sort through that and be like, okay, what were the issues that came up? Can I remove some of these barriers? Can I do something about these obstacles so that every day isn't an obstacle course? Every day doesn't end with me melting down crying, wondering how the heck I got through that day and like, how am I gonna get through the next day? I think it was Brendan Mahan of ADHD Essentials calls it, people with ADHD play life on hard mode. We really do. And yeah, we can do hard things, but we don't have to do them in the hardest way possible. Thank you, Mel. That was a really cool thing that you said. We made an issues log inspired by this personal journey that I'm on. If you want to check it out, there's a link to this in the description, and you can try it. I think it might surprise you. And if you have a kid with ADHD, if you have a partner with ADHD, and you're wondering why they don't do the thing when you say you can do it, encourage them to fill it out. See what happens, because I guarantee you that you're running into and they're running into more challenges than you realize. And a lot of those, maybe we can do something about. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you try it, and I will see you next video. Bye.